President Goodluck Jonathan, who moved over to the APC, Mr. Ahmed Gulak, who was murdered in Owerri, state capital, Friday to Saturday night, about that time. And there have been quite a number of reactions to his death, and we're going to be getting even more on this program. Mr. Fion, a senior advocate of Nigeria, knew him personally. He said they practiced law together when they were in Kano. Sir, you're welcome to Sunrise Elite this morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. Well, how did the death of Mr. Gulak come to you? Oh, pretty shocking. First of all, allow me to use the opportunity to express my condolences to his family. Although I've spoken to his brother, his younger brother, who's also a lawyer and was based in Kano with us. Ahmed Gulak and I practiced law in Kano for many years before he moved over to Adamawa State to take part in the politics of Adamawa, became a speaker in Adamawa State House of Assembly, and later on became the special advisor to the President, President Goodluck Jonathan, in political affairs. And of course, as usual with the politicians in Nigeria, he cross-carpeted a number of times and ended up with the APC. It was shocking to me because, unknown to me, Ahmed Gulak was in Owerri on Saturday. I was also in Owerri on Saturday. The experience of his going from his hotel to the airport and getting killed on the way is exactly the kind of experience I went through, except for the killing part of it. So, as I thought about Gulak, a number of things went through my mind. Number one was to say to myself, that could have been me. And so, as much as I'm grateful to God that it wasn't me, but it was quite shocking that I came that close, and that someone that close eventually suffered what happened. Did you meet him in Owerri? No, I did not meet him in Owerri. In fact, I did not even know that it was in Owerri, for that matter. But here is a parallel, which is quite shocking. You know, I read the police statement to the effect that Ahmed Gulak did not tell them that he was going to the airport on Sunday morning, which was his own departure date. I think he was also aiming to catch the Airpeace flight, the 8:30 Airpeace flight out of Owerri into Abuja. And that because he did not notify the police of his departure to the airport, that exposed him. Well, I'm surprised that I think that the police have a lot of work to do. I appreciate the work that they're doing to protect the rest of us. But I'm surprised that they put out a statement like that, you know, more or less trying to cast blame on Ahmed Gulak for contributing to the cause of his death. To begin with, the police never issued any public service announcement that they have escort services for people in Owerri who want to go to the airport. So it's not likely that Ahmed knew about it, unless in a special category of people. I certainly did not know that the police have such services. But this is the worst part of it. When you said they didn't, when they didn't announce that they have such services, I guess it's taken for granted that if you're a politically exposed person, you should have some protection, especially when the situation in the southeast is getting as fragile as it's getting. Well, there are two things I would comment about that. Number one is to say that the public statement, unless they're passing on that message to the politically exposed persons secretly. But you will recall that when the new acting IG came into office, part of the first actions he took was to take away all executive escort and protection from politically exposed persons. So I suspect that Ahmed would have been in that category as well. They made that announcement that they're withdrawing all protection and escort services for politically exposed persons in the southeast. So that's one part of it. But the second part of it is this. The condition existing in Owerri that morning. First of all, let me just say this. I've heard a lot about the state of insecurity in the southeast and so on. Incidentally, I went to the southeast for a funeral service. At that funeral service, in the church, the governor of Imo State, His Excellency Hope Uzodinma, was there. And what is more, he addressed the congregation. And part of what he said in the address to the congregation is that the notion that the Imo State is insecure is exaggerated. That people should go about their business and that the government was in control, everything was calm. So if you were in that congregation as I was, and you're hearing the governor, the chief security officer of the state, say that the insecurity is exaggerated, I think you will think to yourself that, okay, I'm not that insecure in this place. The second thing is that I went from Owerri to Olu for the burial, and I went back. And believe you me, I didn't see any heightened or unusual security activity on that road. And that distance about a 45-minute journey, both one way and going back. That's second. But here is what really is of concern to me, and I think it should be of general concern to the general public, that on Saturday morning, when I was getting ready to leave for the airport, the police did not, the security agencies, let me not limit it to the police, did not issue any public service advisory that they were undertaking any security activities in Owerri on that date. So I got up, and by 6:30, I was in the taxi taking me from my hotel to the airport, only to get on the road and discover that all major roads leading to the airport were blocked. Driving through
were blocked by who?
Okay, now, they were blocked by persons who wore the uniform of the security services. You know, an admixture, police, the military. So the major road, for instance, the Douglas Road, which is the major road leading to the airport, was blocked. And you could see a lineup of vehicles heading towards the Aba direction, trapped there. Now, I had an 8:30 flight to catch. That's a journey which normally takes about 45 minutes from the hotel where I stayed. Now, what we then found was that the driver who took us had to detour from the main road and try to find a way to sidetrack the roadblocks. And that meant he took us into different corners, different unknown routes. Now, the first thing you think about when you go into a different city and you are with a driver who is not your usual driver, you don't know him very well, is that one of the security tips you want to bear in mind is he taking you through the usual and regular roads. So merely by creating a situation in which we were now being taken through these unusual or unknown routes, they created a level of insecurity for us. Now, I don't know who advises them on security or who designed that security architecture, but what you now had is a situation where we were at the mercy of the driver. Now, if that driver, my own driver I'm talking about, was an evil-minded person, it was very easy for him to have arranged for me to be kidnapped. And that would be it. That would be another story. So I suspect what happened with Gulak that morning was that he ran into these same security roadblocks. And having run into these security roadblocks, the driver must have been looking for different ways of trying to beat the security group. So you can deliver him at the airport for his 8:30 flight. And the problem you have with that is that you then enter into this unknown, uncharted territories. It's famous now, it's regular now, it's popular now to attribute any security challenges happening in the Southeast or Imo to IPOD and ESN, Eastern Security Network. But the reality of the matter that over the years is that you've had Otokoto in Imo State. That wasn't caused by IPOD. So there have been other sources of insecurity in the area, armed robbers, kidnappers, assassins, and so on. So it could be any lot of this, but I give it to the police. If they say, because I've read a news statement where they say they found out that it was IPOD and the ESN who were responsible for this.
No, they have since said that they were bandits. I mean, okay. They haven't, I don't think on this particular occasion they have mentioned IPOD specifically, but they have said that bandits were responsible for this particular killing. And I think that they've gone after a number of people whom they said were responsible. They have apprehended some vehicles and they said they've arrested some people. Yes. It's all very confusing now because a number of incidents has happened in the Southeast, and one of them we saw that some people were killed as a result of an attack on the police station. Now it's not very clear if the people who were apprehended also lost their lives. I mean, some of them in this particular incident, but we do know that some people have been apprehended as a result of this particular killing.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. But the point I'm hoping to make, at least with the security agencies, if they can hear us, is this. It would be helpful if you want to undertake security activities that you send out a public advisory to members of the public to be guided that this is what you're doing. Because otherwise, you can't then make a difference between the people taking the laws into their hands and law enforcement agencies. And perhaps in a situation, if they had put in that advisory, perhaps if they had also told the airlines to delay their flights while they are carrying on this, it will have assuaged the anxiety of those who were eager to get to the airport to catch their flights. Well, this wasn't done. Unfortunately, it has taken a very heavy toll. The life of Mr. Ahmed Gulak. And I'm really very sorrowful about this and truly shocked about this. Because I also know that my trip to Imo State was in company of a number of other, particularly clergymen of the Anglican Church, who were also returning to Abuja because it was the burial of the mother of the primate of the Church of Nigeria. And so there were a lot of dignitaries. So they could have, any one of them could have been a victim to this kind of thing. So, going forward, looking to the future, we hope that the police will be more engaging with the public about what they are doing, so that the public too, rising from that information, can be more protective of themselves. And maybe if Mr. Ahmed Gulak had known that, he probably would have reached out to them to say, okay, look, give me an escort to take me to the airport. And they will still be alive with us today. Okay,
well, from what I can read here now, I do know that I believe when the police say they have neutralized, it could mean that they have killed.
That's what it means.
Yes, they have killed the killers of Ahmed Gulak. They give out a statement excuse me, saying that they have recovered 3 AK-47 rifles, 1 pistol, 5 AK-47 magazines with 92 rounds of live ammunition, and they've also recovered 3 out of the 4 vehicles used in the attack. According to them, eyewitness accounts, especially the account given by the driver of the vehicle that was conveying Ahmed Gulak to the airport before the attack, gave a vivid description of the assailants and the vehicles they used in carrying out the attack. They were said to have used a Toyota Camry 2005 model with silver color, Toyota Sienna 1998 model with golden color, Toyota Hilux with white color, and a Lexus RX 330 with golden color. They have withheld their registration numbers for security reasons. So I think they've gone after those who they said that who they believe carried out this particular attack, and it would seem that they have been murdered. However, when you look at the number of vehicles said to have been involved in the killing of this man, you have to ask, do you think that this was political? Yeah, IPOB has come out to say, no, we didn't do this. This man was of no threat to us. He was of no, I mean, we didn't see him as any threat whatsoever. He was of no concern to us. They should look elsewhere. The police authorities should look elsewhere. Do you think that this had any political I don't know, a political connotation, yes, to it. Because when you look at who he is and how he's been involved also in the politics of Imo State, right from when the elections were held to bring in this particular governor, well, we know about the court matters that eventually led to his own emergence. However, in the APC committee, he was also the chairman who brought up candidates around on the platform of the APC. So when you look at that, do you think that could we be jumping to conclusions too soon?
Okay. Well, my reaction to that would be very straightforward. You know, you and I may never know who our enemies are, who we have offended or who we have not offended. We may know some of them. So it would be entirely speculative to attribute motive or purpose for the killing. I just hope that the police are going to do their work properly. But let me say this, and I think this is critical for the efficient functioning of the police and the rest of us. You know, the way the police carry out their functions, they require the support and confidence of members of the public. Now, there are certain public statements they put out which simply beggars belief. I'll give an example. The statement you just read, I read it early the hours of this morning, again on social media. And what did I see? I saw that there were a lot of corpses littered on the ground. And what do you have? You then had AK-47 placed on the body of each of those cops, as though these were the AK-47 rifle recovered from them. Now, it's obvious to me that that cannot be the death posture of those cops at the point they were gone down. They will not have fallen down with the AK-47 very neatly arranged on their body. So basically, the police arranged that scene to have that photo ops taken. Now, the problem you have when the police arrange the crime scene in that way is that it detracts from public confidence. The public is likely to get a notion that, oh, this is just propaganda. And if the public gets the notion that this is propaganda, they will not believe that who the police have identified to be the people who perpetrated this crime are actually the ones. And more importantly, if they don't believe the police, they will not be willing to cooperate with the police and to give police the information which is necessary for the police to do its work efficiently. So I hope that when the police, whoever is a public relations officer, is doing this thing, putting out these kind of statements and putting out these kind of pictures, it should know that it actually works against people having faith in the police force. Don't rearrange the crime scene to take pictures to make you look good and make the criminals look bad. It simply doesn't make people believe you.
Well, I think I must have missed out a paragraph here, because I'm seeing now that one of the paragraphs does have the police identifying all the dead body of the IPOB and ESM members positively as the attackers, and also identified the 3 vehicles recovered as those used by the attackers during the encounter. 2 of the police armored personnel carriers were riddled with bullets but survived the gun battle. So I think you're trying to say that they were able to, well, there was a gun battle, it would seem, and that this was with IPOB and ESN members, and they're saying that IPOB and ASN did it. However, IPOB has released a very lengthy statement saying that they know nothing by the, let me read this now. They say the attention has been drawn to the untenable allegation by the security agencies that IPOB was responsible for the assassination of former presidential aide to ex-president Goodluck Jonathan. They say they know nothing. We therefore state without equivocation that IPOB knows nothing about the said assassination. In the first place, what threats did the late Gulak constitute to our cause to warrant his elimination? We had nothing in common with him and could not have in any way killed him.
In fact, they added something else in that in the statement. I think the version I read, namely that they said they did not even know that it was in Owerri. One, they did not know it was departing from Owerri, that they knew nothing about the travel plans. So how could they have been the ones to arrange to kill him? Look, the reality is, and that's the point I'm speaking to, IPOB may be wrong. They may just be trying to cover up themselves. The police may also be wrong. They may be carrying out a propaganda battle. But I'm concerned with the police, because the police is the institution of state. The IPOB is a non-state actor. It's an unregulated non-state actor. No, we can't lay down the rules for them. They can lay down the rules for our state actors, because we need to have confidence in them. We need to support them. We need to rally around them. And by engaging in propaganda, we detract from that faith in them. They don't do themselves a favor. They don't do themselves any credit. And that's the point I want to underscore. So whatever IPOB says about themselves and so on, clearly it's logical from what they have said to think about it. But the truth of the matter is that crimes don't always follow very logical patterns. It could very well be that these fellows thought that ran into a vehicle carrying Gulak without knowing who Gulak is, and simply thought maybe somebody was trying to block them, and came out and shot him. I mean, I've seen another...
When you look at the fact that he was the only one who was killed in that vehicle,
right? The
driver wasn't murdered.
Well, that's, you know, I'm not going to try to speculate on all the possibilities, you know.
I mean, it does raise questions, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's one. And then the fact that, you know, sadly, we've seen the response. We've seen the response of a youth group, a northern youth group, because some people have also raised concerns as to what this could spark. I don't know if you also had concerns about that as well.
I do. Let me say this. You know, I went to Kano in the year 1980 to do my youth service, and I stayed back in Kano and I practiced law. And believe you me, I've had a wide circle of friends in Kano. But here is what also happens, and you can trace this history as far back as you can. But let me just take the case of 1987. You know, when there were this riot in the College of Education, Kafanchang, what you had happen immediately was this spiraling riots throughout literally all the major cities in the north. Katsina, Kano, Funtua, Bauchi, and what have you. So there's a pattern that when you have a spark in one place, if the people of northern origin or Muslim faith think that they've been the targets of a killing, they tend to react by carrying out, in quote, reprisal attack on persons who live in the in areas where they also dominate. I've had to deal with that for the major part of my adult life living in Kano. Even when you have a quarrel between two people in the market of different ethnic colorations, and it quickly spirals off into reprisal attacks within the city. We experienced that several times. So that statement by the northern youth resonates with me. I think that there is real cause to apprehend that there may be reprisal attacks in a number of northern cities in reaction or in revenge for the death of Mr. Gulak. And I think that the security agency should not take that statement lightly.
Do you think that's why they have released the statement as quickly as they have and said they've neutralized the people who, carried out the attack?
Well, I can't speculate for them, but in my view, very respectfully, the statement they have released is not going to be very helpful because they have identified IPOD and ESN as being the culprits in this. Unfortunately, the notion out there, prevalent in the north, where I have lived most of my adult life, is that somehow IPOD and ESN represent the collective mentality of the Igbo man. So if IPOD takes an action, that must represent the action of the Igbos. I don't agree with that, but sorry, it's not my mentality, it's their mentality. So, and what I'm trying to suggest is the police ought to take into account that this has happened in the past. With this kind of thinking prevailing, they ought to put in place protective measures in the cities where this notion is likely to catch fire to ensure that citizens in those states are protected. Because, believe you me, I know a lot of Igbos who are not in support of IPOD or ESN. So the notion, I simply don't identify with the notion that any action taken by this group, IPOD, ESN, represent the collective mentality of the Igbos. No, I don't agree with that view. But that's me. All I'm really concerned with in speaking out is to say, please be aware that a mentality like this exists. And it challenges the security of the people who live in areas where this kind of predominant mentality rules. So take steps to ensure that you provide protection for them.
How high is your level of confidence, though, that the real perpetrators have been brought to book? On a scale of 1 to 100, 100 being really high.
I'm sorry that as of today, I would need a lot more information. I wouldn't give it more than 30%. I wouldn't give it more than 30%. Because, like I said to you, what I see happening, looking at that crime scene, that's propaganda playing out. So I do not know what the aim of that propaganda is. The propaganda is usually an admixture of a little quantity of truth with a large proportion of lies. I would think that what I saw from the crime scene, which they displayed, that could only represent maybe about 30% or less of what the actual truth is. I would be more confident if the police put down their heads and carry out a proper investigation. That investigation, that display, looks too artificial for me to believe that they've actually identified the culprits who killed Gulak. They may have been engaged in a gun battle with a group of people, but linking it to the killing of Gulak, for me, is a little far stretch.
Well, we'll wait to see if the police will give us any more information on that. They have released a statement in addition to the picture you must have seen. But we'll wait to see if there'll be more information or whether they'll be willing to take questions just to shed a little more light and increase the confidence of people who'll be looking forward to the apprehension of those who would have committed this particular crime. But thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Elite this morning. Mr. Ofiong is a senior advocate of Nigeria and a friend to the late Mr. Ahmed Gulak. Our condolences to you as well.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's all we'll have to leave it for this segment. We have a few reactions from you. Let's take a look at this. Hinta says, even with 1 million officials, there's still an average of 200 Nigerians to a cop. That's overwhelming. Tackle the issue from the local government level, and as it's taking time to debate on the state police, bring in private, I see PP there, as security surveillance and for information gathering. That's Hinta's suggestion.
Well, certainly so many of those messages are there. Oladipo Richard, Iro, Simanglinki, Henry Wonono, and so many others. I particularly saw one from Aladile, and I think it is very, very strong, a very good one. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the program today, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm Ayo Makinde.
I'm Kayode Kikere. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. I'm Malpa Ogun Yusuf.